Welcome to the Dark Parallax, Project Rainbow, a.k.a. the Philadelphia Experiment. It's 1944. We are in Philadelphia. A steelworker, having a drink in a local bar after an agonizing shift, takes a sip of his beer. He's covered from head to toe in layers of soot and sediment from the factory. The rustling from the bar is typical. Sailors frequent here because it's close to water and they love to drink and fight. So when tonight's fight broke out, the man thought nothing of it, until a bottle hit his shoulder. He whipped around, ready to knock someone's lights out, but something odd stopped him. One of the sailors, who were shouting, suddenly vanishes. A few moments pass as everyone but the sailors froze in shock. Just then, they reappeared and continued fighting as if nothing happened. Then two more sailors vanish and reappear moments later. The man's eyes shift as they try to focus on the men who are bouncing in and out of existence. This wasn't a dream. This was a supposed eyewitness account of the crew from the USS Eldridge. Someone's story about one strange night in Philadelphia. It all started on January 13th, 1953, when Morris K. Jessup started receiving a series of odd letters from someone by the name of Carl Miguel Allende, a.k.a. Carl Allen. Jessup was an accomplished astrophysicist and prominent UFO researcher, and was infatuated with the story. Years before, an anonymous group of scientists had converged in darkness under secret orders. Rumor has it that two of the scientists were none other than Albert Einstein and Nikola Tesla. Einstein would provide the unified field theory, and Tesla would provide the special instruments needed. The statement from the U.S. Navy denies everything, as the story goes against the laws of physics. There are some researchers who suggest the goal was to use magnetic and gravitational devices for measuring the seafloor, which could be tied to Project Paperclip. Others say the researchers were using large electrical generators in an attempt to bend light around the ship, rendering it completely invisible. One cover story is the devices were mistaken for degaussing equipment used to decrease the net magnetism in metals in order to avoid magnetic sea mines. On October 28, 1943, the generators were switched on. A greenish-blue glow could be seen surrounding the ship. Just then, the ship vanished entirely and reappeared in Norfolk, Virginia, only to vanish again and reappear back in the Philadelphia harbor. The story continues on to mention the effects left on the crew. Some men were seen fused to the ship's hull, still alive, wailing in agony. Others went insane from the intense electromagnetic fields and the horror they had witnessed. But others didn't seem affected at all, those were reportedly seen in a bar fight a year after the fateful experiment. For decades, this conspiracy has been thought a complete hoax due to the lack of physical evidence. There are some researchers that believe it was one of the most covered-up stories in U.S. government history. The experiment had ripped a hole in space-time, shifting our realities with a parallel universe that continues to shift to this day. Speculative researchers suggest this has ties to the Mandela effect. There are other theories that the hole in space-time has allowed alien beings to invade planet Earth while brokering a deal with the humans. Technology in exchange for resources. After all, the Manhattan Project started on November 25th, 1942, and the first test was July 16th, 1945.